Alright, metal body repair, Aipd subcourse OD1653, lesson 2, task 3. Lesson 2, operation required, glass radiator fuel tanks repaired. Task 3, describe operation required with proper fuel tank repair. Alright, introduction. Fuel tanks of the motor vehicles are prepared with a turn plate with a range of thickness from number 24 to number 18 inch standard gauge to join with a welded seam with the fitting of the filler neck with the drain valve with the fuel line connection side with the tank baffle plates inside of the tank offset with excessive splashing foaming of the fuel where the vehicle is not in motion. Figure 37 of the following page with the illustrated with the table to construct the fuel tank with the leak maker with the seam weld with the side with the joints with the vibration strain with the faulty construction the occasional leak with the tank of itself with the cause with the sharp of the particular stone the bolt. Stones or bolts picked up with the wheel vehicle with a rope with which can be thrown against the fuel tank. Type of the construction. Fuel tanks are made with various shapes, the sizes, smallest for the outboard motors and the largest for the rail tanks. Most common type. Show the type of the typical fuel tank construction. Fueler pipe, fuel gauge, opening, rigid strength, baffle passage for fuel, drain plug, fuel outlet, 1/4 inch. Fuel tank of the Army weld vehicle tanks, turn plate, fiberglass fuel tanks are cell bladder tanks with the fuel compartments which are power of the tanker vehicle. Tensioner plant with a thin gauge, low carbon steel with the coat with the bolt side with the lead bearing. The manufacturer with the steel with its run through with the acid bolt bath, then into the hot lead dip with the lead coating that adheres to the metal given the tinted coat. The tinted coat prevents the foam rust from forming, and the inside of the tank almost makes repairs easier. Regardless of the shape of the side of all fuel tanks designed to prevent static electricity expressive splashing baffle plates are used for this purpose. Figure 38 in the fuel following page allows the inside of the fuel tank with a 2.5-ton Army trunk with the baffle plate is secured to the top of the bottom and the side of the tank by spot welding and soft soldering. Near top of the vehicle is issued with the Army fuel tank baffle plates, spot welded to prevent it from breaking loose. Figure 38 shows the cutaway view of the fuel tank, fuel line pickup with assembly outward fittings, fuel line picking of assembly connection fittings, fuel gauge connection plate, tank end, baffle plates, drain plug, tank body, filler pipe sleeve, filler cap, gasket. Repair operation. Fuel tank body ends to end. Tank of the body ends with the screws together one of 3 ways. Clipped and soldered. Tank ends flanges seamed. Welded in the tank body. Aluminum fuel tanks brazed or fused and welded. Commercial type vehicle with the upper and lower tank halves are seamed welded together in the center to make complete unit. Fuel tanks 3/4 tank. 3-ton larger combat type vehicles are flange seam welded. Fuel tanks to 1/4-ton Jeep combat type vehicles either seam welded or soldered. After one end of that has been installed with the tank body, the baffle plates are spot welded in place. The remaining tank is secured and positioned by seam welding. Your fuel tank fitting of the filler neck of the fuel tank of the manufacturer cap with iron, aluminum, low carbon steel with the coat with lead and sand with the shape of the solder in place. Filler tube and sleeve of the assembly of the filler tube with its round cylinder with the manufacturer turns plate with a U with the expansion of the filler neck to prevent from fuel from flushing with the tank of the filling fill with the located with the bottom of the sleeve of the screen with the brass wire mesh prevent dirt with the other foreign material with the going back on the tank of the fuel is added with the tank of the sleeve is pulled up and located in position. More caution when repairing the fuel tank, making certain that the sleeve of the locks in proper working condition. If it does not make a good contact with the tank of the stack of electricity, result with the filing an explosion could result. Filler cap. As the fuel tank filler cap is not alike, some area of the plane lock type of the others were designated only to prevent gases from sloshing out, but to allow combat type vehicles to be used in dead water force operation. To figure 39 on the following page to illustrate the cross-section view of pressure type fuel tank filler cap operation of the pressure cap is desired below. Road heat comes in contact with the fuel tank of the fuel will start with the expand with the cutting air with the tank to be compressed. At this time, the pressure put on the compression spring opens the vent and leaks, lets expanding fuel vapors escape from the tank. Figure 39 shows the pressure type fuel tank filler cap, the air inlet valve, spring guide, pressure spring cap lock, device, rubber gasket, air vent from the inside, core gasket, and air vent on the outside. The verse over the paragraph 3b(a) curve with the tank with the fuel cool, and the fuel cool. Air must be brought outside with the replace with the air outside to replace with the air left from the shrinking fuel. Atmospheric pressure for the greater than the pressure within the tank. The force for the inlet open, allowing air to rush into the tank. When the tank pressure equal to the atmospheric pressure, the air vent closes. 4. The fuel pickup the connection plate. With the connection plate with the manufacturer for the low carbon steel with the coat with lead with the side with the tank body with the blank has been drilled into the tape to receive the fuel line pickup with the assembly with the screw with the place and with the screws. Fuel gauge connection plate with the construction method with the attachment with the same with the pickup plate with the drain plug steel plug with the pipe threads for the plain plug fitting. Manufacturer low carbon steel coated led with internal pipe threads at the side of the tank body. Fiberglass fuel tanks. Fiberglass fuel tanks are constructed entirely with fiberglass except for the fitting of the connection because they are lightweight with durability, seamless construction. They use frequently armed personnel with the carriers and self-propelled artillery vehicles. Their construction makes it possible to install them in regular airspace that usually remain in the vehicle with subject with the vibration travel over the retain with the regular shape that do not need baffle plates. The cell and bladder type of tanks are constructed with the 3-layer with the synthetic material with the protective lacquer coating. They are similar to the larger balloon square with the round in shape with the sometimes used with a contemporary portable fuel cell with the most humid with the fuel to use for them and the fuel points. Thicker wall construction provides an excellent shield with the foul weather and abuse when not used and easily so folded away with the storage. The fuel compartment is not an independent section of the tank that cannot be removed with the vehicle. The construction of the integral part of the vehicle help with the combustion, composition, and shape of the fuel compartment is determined by the design of the parent vehicle. Alright, testing for leaks. The methods of the use to locate tank leaks. The visible leak of the found looking on the string left of the outside of the tank with the seepage marking with the dark brown, dark red, and depending on what type of the gas for the chains in the tank, the cracks may be located with the carefully observation of the tank. Best type of the underwater air type of the tank must be cleaned prior to testing. Then, by the air type of the shield with the fluid gauge, open the fuel filler pipe opening in the drain plug, and then testing the air hose connected with the fuel outlet connection plate in this tank. In the back canvas tank and air apply compressed. Apply compressed air to no more than 5 psi. Look for air bubbles to mark these spots with repair. Another method is to fill the tank with clean water and soap at the outside of the tank. Replace the tank at the bottom cap attached to the air line to the fuel outlet connection. Apply 5 psi air pressure. Look for any of the bubbles that appear with the outside of the tank that indicate for the leak. For testing the leaks for the fiberglass and cell bladder type of the fuel tank, the more or less better than a matter of visual inspection. Cellar and bladder type fuel tanks leaks may occur because of the puncture, cut, abrasion, blisters, ruptures, and scuffs, not coating damage, may also cause occasional leak. Cleaning. Before repairs, the fuel tanks must be cleaned thoroughly, but this is absolutely necessary for the safety precaution against fuel and vapors remaining in the tank. Never miss other than the fact that the tank is empty with liquid. There are many vapors in the tank that has been empty for several weeks or months. When heat is applied with the tank, the metal expands, but any of the fuel that have been trapped in the steam vaporization explodes. The method of cleaning of the tank with live steam method is to use the steam cleaner to remove any of the fuel and fumes that may be still present with after flushing of the tank of the water. With remove all the tank's fume with the fitting of the surface of the drain plug, fuel pick with assemble the gas gauge, filler gauge, the place of the steam cleaner hose with the filler neck of the steam, and the inside of the tank with at least 45 minutes for the live steam. Repair should be done immediately after cleaning. This also air method does not require anything more than a vehicle that runs a 1.5 inch flexible pipe. Remove the tank from the vehicle. Place 1.5 inch flexible hose with the glass tank filler neck. Connect the other end of another vehicle exhaust pipe. Let the vehicle run for at least 25 minutes. After the exhaust fumes have been run into the fuel tank for at least 25 minutes, blow the tank out with compressed air and start repairs immediately. Before starting repairs immediately, vapors have not had the chance to build up again. Alright, 3. Live steam and exhaust air methods are used mainly for the turn and plate tanks. They can also be used for the fuel compartments with the water filled with the method and none of the means of cleaning fuel tanks. After locating the leak, fill the tank completely with clear water, replace with the fuel cap, then turn the tank until the leaks are the topmost portion. Repair with a soldering iron only with fiberglass, the cell type tanks, plain water, flush with the method clean. Alright, 4. Patching. Before patching and damaging the first, remove it from the vehicle. Remove all the vapors of the air. The patch must be clean with at least 2 inches beyond the crack of all the directions. Cutting in the patch using galvanized metal large enough to extend beyond the crack at least 1 inch in all directions. Brown all the corners to in the metal on the side of the that make contact with the tank. Place the patch on the tank, sweat soldered together. Last step in this test, the 5 psi air pressure. Safety rules. Safety rules of fuel tank repairs should be strictly enforced. Do not depending on your eyes to nose to decide on the safety put of the open flame fuel tank steam in the first very small amount with the residual gasoline or other explosive liquid can cause serious explosion. Never use oxygen ventilated fuel tank. Never place a light torch, flame, any kind of fuel tank of operating opening of the test vapor after it has been cleaned. Always use compressed air to clean exhaust fume of the fuel tank of the exhaust method that has been used to remove fuel vapors. Alright, E. Never use an oxyacetylene torch to remove top 55-gallon drums. Always use the hammer and cold chisel. All types of 55-gallon drums should be cleaned before removing the tops. Vapors from some of the liquids will be exposed upon first spark. Since cold chisels are made of steel, a spark could very easily be struck. With the priority safety, only drums which contain non-toxic substance should be used. Before actual repair of the tank, the vapors must be removed, and the filler neck will be replaced. After connecting the air hose fuel to outlet with the pipe connection, replace the tank with the water vat. Observe the tank for any leaks and air pressure for those set at 5 psi. Remove the tank and then shut off the air supply. To repair the damaged area, first heat the area and clean a wire brush for the tin in the area, and then solder the leak. Final step is to retest the air to make sure the damaged area is repaired properly. Then it goes into practice exercises for lesson 2. And then the answers. And this was a reading of your subcourse OD1653 edition 7 metal body repair.